Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 16 millimeter film crew. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Dale.
You can watch us on YouTube. You can like and comment on our YouTube videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can listen to us everywhere podcasts are found at 16 millimeter film crew podcast. And you can visit us on our website at www.16millimeterfilmcrew.com. This week, we watched season 2 of The Last of Us, directed by Craig Mazin. The first episode was titled Future Days. So, 5 years after the events of the first season, Joel and Ellie live in Jackson, Wyoming, but their relationship has become strained. This show stars Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey, Gabriel Luna, Isabella Merced, and Young Mazino. So, we've been talking about this coming out for a while, and I know you had mixed feelings about like the separation of the game and the show. So,
Mhm.
how did you feel about the premiere episode?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe. Because I can see it's a clear, like I said, deviation of the game. Um, I don't know. Like, I'm still kind of. I guess with this episode, I'm kind of still. I'm even more concerned about Bella Ramsey's casting as Ellie. Considering the way she kind of plays her, like I don't know. In the game, Ellie's still more like a kid in a way, and this she's kind of like, oh, I'm just rebellious, uh, jerk the whole time. It's clear that I know in the game, Joel doesn't tell her how she's was saved. She doesn't find out till like way after. Which this part of the game would probably be like first like couple 10 or so minutes basically. She doesn't find out till after. But it's probably clear in the way the show is going that he's told her already, and that's what caused their parental, I guess, their familiar relationship being splintered the way it is. But one thing I think the game did a very good way of showing was the fact that, of course, Ellie is very much smaller than everybody else. It's not a sex thing. She's a girl. She's smaller than everybody else. She's just like 19 years old, that kind of thing. In the opening clip, we see her kind of go one on one with a fully grown man, and then win handily. And then later on in the episode, we see her lose to a clicker, basically same mass as her. The game did a very good thing of showing the combat scenes as far as you playing as her, was where they use her size and speed to an advantage. I feel like the transition from doing that to the show was just to add extra action set pieces, which really don't really fit, given that. But I do think the character of Dina is I think is much better in in the show compared to the game. I think they fleshed her out a little bit more, give her a little bit more life. Um, looking forward to more scenes with Abby. Only the 3 minutes we got of her actress, I thought was really well portrayed. But yeah, my the biggest weakness for me is just Bella Ramsey and her portrayal of Ellie. Really, I think the show is really going heavy-handed to make you not like Ellie this season or this first couple episodes most likely, and you root more for Abby to get her revenge. So
So I was really excited about, well, actually, was I excited? No, the show
no,
gives me anxiety.
yeah,
Like it just stresses me out because I'm not like, I don't like fast vampire zombies. Like I just, it always puts me off. But I do think what I like about this interpretation of the zombie apocalypse is that like all the um monsters are so like beautifully designed. Like when you look at the prosthetics and everything, like it just looks really nice.
mhm,
So it's like, so it is scary because then like of the sound and the sound design, like how the way they sound, but like what they look like, it's actually really nice when you look at it up close. Anyways, that's completely besides the point. But I was stressed out while I was watching this, but also like very excited. One, because I love Caitlin Deaver and Caitlin
mhm.
Deaver plays Abby.
Abby,
And
yeah,
I knew that I know that Abby was going to be a huge character in this because of what happened at the end of last season. So I'm already on her side. Like I don't care like what she's going to do because I do feel like I'm just like, well, I love Caitlin Deaver. So obviously I'm going to be on her side no matter what. But I do think they did a great job at like establishing like why she feels this way and like what her connection is to Joel and the whole situation. And I do feel like, however you look at it, she is kind of justified because like he did just kill her dad for like no reason. Like, I mean, he had a reason, but like he didn't need to go that far. And I think that Joel is a really interesting case study and just like how his violence always ends up like kind of catching up with him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're exploring in this season. So I'm actually really excited for that. I'm like excited for Pedro Pascal's performance in this because last season he was just amazing. I think everyone last season was really great.
Mm.
But his storyline in particular, like the consequences of what he's chosen to do and how far he's chosen to go to protect Ellie, I think that's going to be explored a lot in this. So I'm really excited to see him. I do know what happens, even though I don't play the game. I do know what happens, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. And in terms of like the actual like game to show, I like I said, I didn't play the games, but I watch a lot of people talk about this show who have played the games, and it's incredible like how many scenes were taken like directly from the games and
Mm.
redone for the show. And also like they're taking actors who did the voice acting in the games and they're putting them in the show. It's like really, I think I haven't seen like a an adaptation where it feels like very faithful, where
Mm.
it's like the intention of like actually pulling scenes directly from the game and pulling actors from the game and like putting them in there is like a very deliberate decision.
Mm.
And I think that that is really cool because you can tell the people who made this show really care about the game and they're very much involved, which is cool to me. Um, and for Ellie, I again because I didn't play the game, so I don't know like what she's supposed to be like, but from just like as a viewer of the show, I think she's done a really good job. And I think that like the reason why she's acting this way is because she knows what Joel did.
Yeah.
Now, they haven't explicitly said that because I think they're saving that episode, like the confrontation where like they have a conversation about it for at least next episode or maybe one of the episodes down the line the season.
Mm.
But at a certain point, we are going to get the conversation of like her confronting Joel of being like, I know what you did. So I think that's why she's mad. And honestly, I get it. I
Mm.
get it because it's like, from her point of view, it's very much like, well, I can actually help stop all this stuff, but you didn't want to go through with the procedure because you lost your daughter. So it's more of a you thing than it is a me thing. Even though I do think he cares about her a lot, I do think that like the trauma from losing his daughter kind of overshadowed his perspective of like what needed to happen. Like, I don't know. And it wasn't a guarantee that like her blood would cure everyone, but like it was a possibility because she is immune. And I think that's what they were trying to show in this episode as well, is like because she gets bitten again by the stalker, that she very much is immune. So like she could possibly be the key to like, I don't know, changing some stuff around, shifting it a little bit. But I think Joel, and especially in that scene with Catherine O'Hara, who I'm so excited to see in this show, I love
Mm.
her. Um, where he had killed her husband because I think he had been bitten.
Mhm.
It just goes to show like your actions have consequences. So like it makes sense that like even in that therapy session where she was like, I'm so mad at you for what you did, even though I understand why you did it, is very reflective of probably how Ellie feels. Where like I understand why you would do that because I would die in order for whatever process to get my blood to make a cure, whatever what happened. But like I'm so pissed at you for doing it. So like I do get it. It's not like just teenage angst. That's
Mm.
not what I was getting from that. I was getting like, oh, okay, like she knows what's up and she's upset about it. But also he did save her life. So how can she be really mad? It's like a very conflicted um thing that she's going through. So I totally understand that. And I think once they have the conversation, things will probably take a different direction because if you watch the trailer, there are scenes with them together where it's much more pleasant. So
Yeah.
I think that it's just like right now, it has to be a little frosty and a little tense because we're building to that confrontation scene. So actually, I was fine with it. I like Bella Ramsey and I think that she's good in the role. I don't know what she's gonna do with it this season, but like last season, she was incredible. Like, I think I think like being a fierce person is obviously like a mask that she wears. Sorry, I think Bella is non-binary, so I'm gonna say that. Excuse me for I'm misgendering, but I think that what Bella did with the role last season was really interesting, and the fact that they are small, they are young, what kind of like physical presence that appears to other people and how that people can underestimate that and how they have been put into danger because of their physical stature and appearance multiple times. It's probably going to happen again this season as well.
Mm.
Um, but showing that they are still like they're still learning how to survive in this world. And I think the first scene where she's like they're like fighting the grown man. Like he was obviously not fighting her. Like he was
Yeah.
pulling punches. She would have win. The character would win. So, and the response to that is like, don't pull your punches. Don't try to protect me. Like they're trying to be independent. And at 19, I get it. Like you're trying to be independent. You think that you know everything, even though you don't.
Yeah.
It's a interesting. You're not a girl, not yet a woman. Like it's very that coded. So
Yeah.
like honestly, I get it. It makes sense to
I
me.
mean, and I think they probably did try too much with a lot of scenes with her specifically. Kind of try to like do some low-key sexist. Well, it wasn't sexist, but it came off as sexist messaging a bit too
Hmm.
much. But that scene in particular, where she's like, don't pull your punches." Oh, and then the scene where after her and Dina come back when they encounter with the stalker, where Tommy's like, she was like, "Oh, we've gone off plenty of time. You wouldn't tell anybody else not to do it." And the way they shot it, it kind of makes it seem like, oh, they're saying that because you're girls. And I didn't get that, but I guess that's the consensus. That's the vibe it gives off. And in my head, I'm like, nah, you're still kids. Like you're not an adult yet. You might have been able to do a walkers in a group or something, but you've never had to clear a whole building by yourself. And the way they shot it was like it came off as an intentionally sexist thing, which continues on down the road to where they're at the party
Mm.
and the guy calls him like a slur, and then Joel comes out like, "Hey, what the fuck?" And then Ellie just reacts, weirdly, and caught off guard and upset that Joel like defends her like that's what any parent would do, regardless of what's going on in your house. So like there could be animosity, but your parent is always gonna first one to stick up for you in public, that kind of thing. And she just kind of just flies off with the handle, at him, which I was like, okay, that's let's be honest here. Would it have been gone up to you? Probably wouldn't have been as pissed off like what are you doing and then walk off kind of thing. I don't think there would have been a whole realistically would have been a whole dust up as to what they had at that scene.
Yeah, I think it's still just like the rollover of
Yeah,
feelings of like not being able to, or not being able to, but like haven't she hasn't confronted him yet about what she knows. And I'm kind of interested to figure out how she found out, or
yeah,
or if she just never believed him when he told her, "No, I swear I didn't do anything." So a part of me is kind of like, did she know the entire time?
yeah.
Because and then like over the years it just kind of built. I'm not really sure. Maybe they'll explain that in another episode. But I think for her it's more just like I don't want your help. Like every time you help, bad things happen. Like but
And
it's also like he's right to do it.
yeah,
Like yeah, if someone said that to me, like yes, shove them to the ground. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's an appropriate response
yeah.
actually to that
I
situation.
mean,
So,
I don't know. I guess it's because of the fact that we haven't seen the altercation between the two of them as to why it feels so jarring to me, especially having experienced it before the game. How it was revealed that she didn't know anything, and the relationship doesn't really
yeah.
change. This is like really jarring. You get it. You have an expectation of the story going a certain way, and it kind of diverges too early in a way. That's my whole thing with that. Yeah, and I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm not going to deny it. I still have issues with it. I do think, Joel's logic and reasoning with I guess his sister-in-law, the actual mayor of
Oh, yeah.
I forgot they didn't even mention her name anymore. The black lady, I forget. Where she's like, yeah, we gotta build faster. We gotta take in all these people. He was like, you can't save everybody, you know. And that's also that issue coming back from him with him and Ellie is, you can't save everybody. You have to protect the people you love first. That kind of thing where she's like, now we got to build new houses, we got to fix all the infrastructure for everything, which kind of also we see with the end clip kind of leads to their undoing with their rush to fix the pipes and not doing it correctly. We see the shots of the clickers feeding through because if you don't remember from season one or if you haven't played the game, that they use a network of routes to communicate and somewhat travel. So
Yeah. I think they were laying some really interesting ideas about like that speaks more to like the characters' mindsets.
mhm.
And I really like um Tommy's wife. Why can't I remember her name?
Yeah.
I want to say it's like Lucy or no, that's not it.
Mhm.
Mm, Miss Thing. Like
Yeah.
I love her. She's actually killing it, but I can't remember her name. But when she turns around and says, you were a refugee too, I think that that was like really powerful because it's like, yes, like, sure, you cannot let in as many people, but also like,
Humanity.
yeah, humanity. And I feel like that's what they were communicating in the first season when they had originally gotten to Wyoming. It was like, you know, these like we need community. Like that's how we retain our humanity is by staying connected, by having events like our parties and like getting to know each other. Yes, it's very socialist, but like this is what being a human is like in the midst of this like absolute insanity that we're all
Mm,
living through. And I really like her perspective on that because it's like, yeah, because Joel really doesn't care about people unless they're like connected to him.
yeah.
Like even in that first episode of the first season when the apocalypse starts, he like takes his daughter and Tommy and they get into the truck and like there's people on the side of the road who are like asking for help and he does not help them. Like he kills everyone in that hospital just to save one person, Ellie. Like I feel like he really isn't like a person to be like, okay, yeah, let's all try to work together now. Like he's very much like it's me and mine and everybody else is over it there. Don't know if he'll learn the lesson of that's not how we need to be living, especially in these times, but my feeling is that he probably won't. Because even in that therapy session where he's like about to tell the truth about like what he did, he immediately just like shuts off and he's like, no, I'm still right. I'm still a good person. And I'm like, are you, Joel? You are, you're complicated. A good person, I don't, maybe, sometimes.
Mm. I mean, so a bit of the like they don't reveal it in the show or either the games, but I know the Neil Ruckman and Bruce Stanley, the creators of the game, were like somebody had asked about, because Joel being the way he is, him being a survivor and his connections with people, if you're not really bonded, they don't really care for you. To me stems back from most likely stuff he had with his wife. And the backstory with that was apparently with after Sarah, his daughter, was born, um she left, like she just left. They don't really explain how she left, and she like um and basically described it as she wasn't someone not someone he looked up to keep it a picture around. So that clearly that like dead mother trope, dead girlfriend trope, dead wife trope kind of still lingers with Joel. Even though we never saw it in the game, we kind of do see it now as his attachment of, oh, if you're connected to me, I care about you, due to the abandonment and I guess dissolution of a relationship with his wife in a way,
Mm.
which I hope and hope, we since it wasn't, explored in the game, potentially is explored in particularly this season of the show. So
That would be cool. Yeah, I would love to see that. Um, but yeah, I am very anxious about the rest of the season just because I feel like last season was pretty dark. And
mhm.
I just feel like we're gonna get even darker this season, which I can't even imagine possible because like last season was really dark. So I'm like, oh God, what are they gonna do? Because now we have two really big situations happening at the same time. We have Abby and her crew showing up to Jackson. They're about to set it off over there. And then we also have the infected who are on their way because I guess what was it like the roots were in the pipe. So
Mhm.
like, but someone left a little fire thing on New Year's Eve that kind of awakened the roots, and now the infected are on their way over to this place that is like very protected. Like gave a group of people an ability to just be people in the midst of
Mhm.
all of this insanity. So like I'm upset because now the compound, what's gonna happen to that? Like it's just gonna be absolute chaos. So we're gonna have to deal with that. And it's just like there's too much going on already, and I'm already nervous, but I'm also like absolutely seated. Like I can't wait to see what happens because last season was so good. Like just in terms of the performances, like even with characters who would just appear in one episode, like episode 3 episode with Sam and his brother, like
Brother,
that
yeah.
was just like amazing episode. So like I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen this season. They're definitely gonna have to step their game up because last season was crazy. So like I'm excited.
I think this season the probably the best episode is gonna be the one we spend with Caitlin Dever as Abby. I see it coming
Mm.
forward. Um, yeah, like the last season was more about survival and and connections, like connections that are what make you human in a way, like survival of humanity. This one is probably about more so revenge and anything
Ooh.
else. So yeah, two like plenty usually diametrically opposed view. Like humanity is always going to be at the back of the show, dealing with subject matter and conflict like this, like human survival, post-apocalyptic kind of thing. Humanity is always going to be like the main through line, but there are different aspects of humanity that shine through. Revenge being one of them, and hope being one of them, and survival being one of them. So good to see. Can't wait to see where it goes from here. Let's see how much time we got left. All right, cool. So, want to go right into the news then? I'm
Yeah.
guessing. Okay, cool. So I guess I'll do the raw packs and stuff first.
Yeah, kick it off,
All
Dale.
right. All right. So on to the news. Our favorite, vampire slash clone slash Batman. Well, not my favorite Batman, but slowly turning into up
Mine.
there. Oh, well, for you, yeah.
Mine favorite.
Mine, not mine. But I don't think I have a favorite Batman. But anyway,
You
so
don't?
no, I don't.
Wow,
I
okay.
don't. It would be if it would be the why am I forgetting? The one who just died. Just his head is always in my head when I Kevin Conroy is
Oh.
my favorite Batman. So no matter what. But anyway, so Robert Pattinson is revealed that he will be showing up in Dune 3 in the most in as a new role. Um the story goes, Denis Villeneuve is putting finishing touches on a script for the third movie in the Dune franchise, and he's already set his sights on his star-studded cast. Um, Sources stated that even though no official offer has been presented at deadline, um, how that there's strong interest in Robert Pattinson in the cast. The cast is already star-studded. Of course, you got Timmy, Florence, Zendaya, um, fucking um, what's his face revealed that he's coming back as Duncan Idaho.
Oh, Jason
Jason
Momoa.
Momoa.
Mhm.
So yeah, star-studded cast. Of course, they're gonna probably still do a bunch of uh call flashbacks with Oscar Isaac's probably showing up as well. You got Rebecca Ferguson still involved with the project. But yeah, like how much money are they putting down into this movie to pay for all these people to show up? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm excited for Dune 3. I'm actually more excited for this one than I was the last one
Mm,
because Dune 3 is when things start to get really weird, and I love that. Like I like reading the book, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be some like next level like real deep sci-fi like strange stuff." And
mm,
I'm all for that. because the last two have been strange, but they're also been like very commercial, and also like those movies, especially the first one, had already been done by David Lynch. So
Mhm.
like, and I think there was like a mini series, so like people were sort of familiar with it if you were like, if you knew, you knew.
Yeah.
But like Doom 3 and going forward, like that's gonna get next level weird. So like I'm very excited for that. And Jason Momoa did reveal that he was coming back. He shouldn't have said that, but like he did anyways. So what can you say?
What can you say?
Um, but if they're eyeing Rob Pattinson, like that's exciting
Yeah.
because it's like because Rob is good at weird. Like if there's something that he knows how to do, it's he knows how to do weird for sure. He's an expert in that category. So I'm excited if Rob is a part of this. And also like it's like Denis and Chris Nolan and like all of these really big directors who know how to work on big scales are
Mhm.
always going to get the best cast. So I'm really excited because some of the cast had died off in the second movie just because of the plot. Like
Mhm.
so um I think we lost, did we lose Christopher Walken? I think
Yes.
we might, yes,
We
we
lost
lost
Christopher
Christopher
Walken.
Walken, we lost Stellan
Um,
Skarsgård. So now we're getting some,
Batista. We
yeah,
lost
now
a lot of people. Yeah.
yeah, so now we can like refresh with a new group of people, and the story is really interesting. Florence plays a much bigger role in this one, so I'm just really excited to see Dune 3. I think they're supposed to start shooting this summer. So I'm ready. Like
Yeah.
give me Dune 3. I will be sad.
Yeah, I remember I've seen the first original Dune, but it was like all the whole series like encapsulated into one movie, which you didn't get the time to spend with the characters and grow. It's kind of like everything just happens like really really fast. So
Hmm.
I like Denny's take. It's a slow burn, but it's still epic in a way. It reminds me very much of like I don't know, Moses or Ben Hur, like that slow burn of
Yeah.
cinematic epicosity, epicness. I can't describe it, but it gives me that feeling, that magnitude. But yeah, Robert's busy. Like you said, this movie starts shooting in summer, but he just got done shooting the drama with Zendaya, and then he also has a movie he's working on with what's her name? Uh uh
Oh, he done.
J-
Yeah, he
J-
finished that one. He
yeah,
finished the
Jennifer
one with
Lawrence.
Jennifer
Yeah.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
But he's
So
doing the Chris Nolan movie right now.
yeah.
And who
So
knows when that's going to finish. So
so yeah.
the schedules between all those actors are going to be really interesting. And also, this is just my small critique. Um, I love these actors, but I do find it interesting that like we are seeing the same group of people being cast in multiple movies, and
Saturation. Yeah.
I would just like to say that we can find some new
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say,
I mean, yeah.
and I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, no, like honestly, like y'all found Timmy out of nowhere. Y'all, Robert Pattinson was a background character in Harry Potter movies. Zendaya was
Yeah.
acting in Disney shows. Like there's clearly a large swath of talent. You don't got to keep casting everybody and everything.
Yeah, and that's maybe like a larger discussion about like how Hollywood doesn't make stars anymore, but like that's a separate conversation. We'll have that different day.
Or when they've created stars, they just run them into the ground.
Yeah, because like even sorry, I was watching this is off topic. I was watching a video about Leonardo DiCaprio, and they were saying like how the like closest comparison to Leo that we have now is Timothy Chalamet, but
Hmm.
it's not. Timothy Chalamet doesn't hit the same way that Leo hit back in the 90s, and there's a reason for that. Like there's a reason why like you cannot make stars in the same way that you did back in those days, like Leo, Gwyneth Paltrow, like people like that. Like it doesn't hit the same way, maybe because these actors are so like overexposed and there's so many of them that
Hmm.
like we don't feel like you're seeing like the making of the new movie star in the same way that you did back in those days. But like I forgot everything that the person said in the video. It was a really good video, but I do think that like we are kind of seeing that there is like a group of people who are just kind of getting rotated around, which I think is fair enough. Like they did that back in the day. Like that's
Yeah.
what they do. But I do think that like creating someone like an actual unknown to like being like in the same position like these guys are, I don't really think you see that anymore. Because even Timothy and like, because Zendaya was on Disney, Timothy was, I think he did a Chris Nolan movie when he was like 15 years old. So like he was around. Like people
Mhm.
kind of found him and then he kind of blew up. So I'm just wondering, like, are we gonna get some like unknowns, like like a Nikki Blonsky in Hairspray, where it's like you're introducing someone new and then they're blowing up? Like I feel like we're not really getting that anymore.
Well,
But that's
it's
whatever.
tangential to the news, but
Yeah.
I like it's like somebody like same thing. I was watching a video. Somebody
Hmm.
mentioned like this era of Hollywood is the era of the influencer. Like these studios and these company productions are not going to option a lot of these movies to be made unless they see that these actors or people involved have a large follow account because they can siphon off those followers into people who view the movies. Um, and that they people went out to explain. I remember a couple years ago when they were signing a bunch of TikTok and Vine stars to
Mm-hmm.
these contracts to be in movies and Netflix shows,
Mm-hmm.
and they realize, oh, these people can't act at all,
Mm-hmm.
or sing or do anything, but they have a large following, so they were hoping they could siphon off that, and that was not what was happening at all. Like the numbers they saw that people had weren't really following them into other properties. So in Hollywood, still in the throes, like, well, if we can't sign, influencers, people know who Timothy Chalamet is. People will watch him. So it's still they're still trying to come out of that whole must have influencers to feed our bottom line. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. And I actually remembered I was watching now. Sorry. It was about Leo, but there was this also came in conversation with the Beatles biopic, which I don't know if we've talked about that on here.
Hmm.
So I'll mention it really quickly. Sam Mendes,
Hmm.
who made 1917 and all those great movies, is making four Beatles biopics,
Yeah.
one of each Beatle, and they're all coming out at the same time, apparently.
Yeah.
And anyways, the casting came out. You have Paul Mescal playing Paul McCartney, Harris Dickinson playing John Lennon, Barry Keoghan playing Ringo Starr, and Joe, not me forgetting this man's last name, Joe, Joe Quinn is going
Joe
to play
Quinn.
George Harrison.
Yeah.
And there was a conversation about like how people wanted unknown actors to play those roles. People wanted people from Liverpool to play those roles. And I think someone online was saying, like these are making movies of this scale is going to be so much money that you actually couldn't cast an unknown person as the main cast because it's like you need people to come see it. But also, I would argue like it's a Beatles biopic, like people are going to go see it anyways. But like there was like an investment, a financial investment in like we cannot hire unknown to play the four guys because like whatever. So we needed like known actors to play those four roles. And to that, I say, okay, fine. I'm actually fine with it. And I'm extremely excited to see this. And I think that, like, because all of the actors are really good actors, it's going to be a good movie. And also because, like, our movies. And because they all know each other, they all have I think a lot of them have worked together before. I think the chemistry will be there. And I think that's the most important part to kind of nail this. So those are my thoughts on the biopic in 30 seconds or less. But, like, yeah. Okay, for our next news story, Pride and Prejudice is being turned into a series for Netflix, and Emma Corrin is going to star as Elizabeth Bennet. Jack, what's his last name? I could just look it up. Why did I? Jack Loudon.
Bowden, yeah.
Sorry. Um, famous as Saoirse Ronan's husband. No, I'm just joking. He's well, the actor and also married to Saoirse Ronan. Um, will play Mr. Darcy,
Mhm.
and Olivia Colman is also going to be in it, and she's going to be Mrs. Bennet, which I'm so excited about. But it is going to be written by Dahlia Alderton, who's like a really good English writer. But
Mhm.
I am I have mixed feelings about this. For me, I think that Joe Wright's version of Pride and Prejudice that came out in the early 2000s with Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden was perfect. Like I love that movie so much. I genuinely think it's perfect. And I didn't want this to be remade. But they did do a BBC version of Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth. I think it was in the 90s.
Yeah. Every
Yeah.
every every generation got their own version of.
Every
Pride and
generation
Prejudice.
gets their own Pride and Prejudice, so I do need to get over it. I just don't want anyone to touch the Keira Knightley one because it was so good. But it's whatever. They're already doing it, so my feelings mean nothing. But I am actually kind of excited about the cast. I like the idea of Emma Corrin playing Elizabeth Bennet. Um, I think it'll give them a chance to like do something new and interesting. And not because they do period films or period stories a lot, but I kind of Elizabeth Bennet is like a real punchy character, so I want to see them try their hand at that because they are extremely talented. So I'm fine with it. Mr. Darcy being Jack Loudon, I don't see it.
Hmm.
See, like the way that you feel about The Last of Us is how I feel about Pride and Prejudice. Like I feel very like I have very strong feelings about the casting of this story. I don't see it for Jack, even though I do think Jack is very talented. Think I think like a Josh O'Connor would have been a really good Mr. Darcy. Like I think that would have been perfect casting. Like Mr. Darcy is just he's like a little off
Hmm.
and like you don't really like him that much, but by the end you're like I love this character. I want this character and Elizabeth to be together. So like I don't know if Jack is giving me that intensity. I don't think he's giving me that kind of odd looking but like also attractive, like weirdly strangely attractive man. Like I'm not really getting that, but it's fine. I think he's talented, so like I think it'll be fine. I just don't know. That's such a like that those two characters are the most important. So it's just like very I'm not sure how I feel about it. But Olivia Colman being in this is like, yeah, absolutely. I Mrs. Bennett is hilarious and like you need an Olivia Colman to do that role. Like that is perfect casting to me in my mind. Um, someone was also saying like put her in the Beatles movie. Yes. I don't know what character she's gonna play, but yeah, put her in that as well. Olivia Colman needs to be in everything. Like that's my opinion. But I don't know about the Jack Lawton part. I really don't. So I am nervous, but I do think that like about to call her Keira Knightley, Emma Corrin will be good as Elizabeth Bennet. I guess a different approach. I could actually be like a Jane, but maybe that would be too close to their why do I keep misgendering people? Their personality.
Hmm.
So I think that doing something very different is the whole point of acting anyway. So I think they'll do a good job. And I'm interested to see how this turns out. Hopefully it'll be good. I don't
Yeah, see, I mean, your feelings on Pride and Prejudice are much stronger than my feelings on Last of Us. So,
know.
you know, but yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Like we said, almost every 10 years or so now, they've done a different version. Like, they did one in 80. Well, before Hollywood made like a new Pride and Prejudice like every like 2 years
Mm.
until like after like I think it was 1976, 1977, no 1967, and then they did one in 1980. Then 95 and 2005. So now they're like, okay, we can kind of wait a bit before we reintroduce these characters. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that it's going to be on was it Netflix project.
Mhm.
Netflix is kind of leaning well into that wellhouse, with Bridgerton, Shonda Rhimes over there. Then you have Catherine. So like they've realized they have a audience already there who wants those period piece dramas. So they can kind of say, all right, cool, slap another one on there. So I think that's one of the only positives I can give Netflix is because they have all that data, they know what their audience wants, and they can provide those projects to them. You know, and when they diverge from that, you get things like The Electric State, which do horribly. Because they're banking on once again big names to draw people in, and it doesn't work. But when they stick to their guns, like, okay, this is what our audience wants, this is what we need to produce, they end up you know, on it perfectly. And moving on, more movie casting analysis. Alejandro Inarritu Of course, putting in the movie at Warner Brothers starring Tom Cruise. But this cast, like we talked about Dune and the franchise being star-studded, this is ridiculous. You have Sandra Mueller,
Hmm.
like scene stealer from like last year's award season, you have Riz Ahmed, John Goodman, Michael Studeberg, Jesse Plemons, Sophie Wilde, like star-studded cast for that too, especially knowing the fact that Alejandro kind of usually keeps stuff pretty close in it. As a director, the only real knowledge we got about this was, of course, Tom Cruise was involved in it. I guess it's supposed to be the only knows you really get about it is like it might be a murder mystery. Um, but yeah, hopefully this goes well. I mean, a lot of good, talented people involved in this project. But you also have to remember it's is also Warner Brothers, but Legendary Pictures is involved, Legendary Entertainment, and if I remember correctly, that's Christopher Nolan that's his production company, so they're involved in it as well. So even with all Warner Brothers shenanigans, as long as Chris Nolan is there behind the scenes as a producer, I'm pretty sure this movie is going to be amazing because like I'm just looking at that cast, like dang, that's ridiculous. And like we said before, like we were mentioned earlier about Hollywood not creating stars, these are picked people from like varying degrees of success and fame in different projects. You know, of course, Sandra Miller, Anatomy of Fall, Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal, his picture there. Of course, John Goodman, Emmy, known for being on Roseanne. Of course, Jesse Plemons is always a good scene stealer, no matter what project, whatever, even if he's a featured actor or just a bit role. Sophie
Hmm.
Wilde and Talk to Me. Like these are people from different walks and different groups that they attract fan bases from coming to this project, which can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. Alejandro Inarritu is like an incredible director. And I think that like I haven't he did I think trying to think of the last big thing he did. He did Bardot, which is on Netflix. I didn't get to watch that one, but um
Revenant
he is really
Birdman,
well, yeah, he did that before.
yeah.
So yeah, he did Birdman, The Revenant. He's done big stuff before with really star-studded cast. So like I think it's gonna be fine. I guess the thing about Warner Brothers is that like these bigger directors are going to Warner Brothers to make these films. Chris Nolan only left because of that whole debacle over Tenet, but like if that whole thing didn't go down, I think he would still be there.
Hmm.
And I think that like if they let their directors just do their thing, it usually comes out fine. I'm a little worried about bigger directors going to Warner Brothers mainly because of Mickey 17. I just feel like that wasn't pushed the way it should have been. And Bong is like an incredible director. So it's like it should have really been pushed in a way that I don't think it was. And it was a great movie. So it's just unfortunate that a lot of people didn't like watch it or feel like they knew what it was about or whatever. So um, they have some challenges with their marketing with things that aren't just like inherently marketable, like a Barbie or Wicked. So I think that they just need to pour more energy into that. And if that goes well, then like these movies will do fantastic. It's just that like one, leave the creative team alone, and then two, market the hell out of it. And I just feel and it'll be fine. So I hope that they're moving in that direction and they don't just go, well, oh, this is a big director, this is a great cast, it'll be fine on its own. Like, let's not do that. Um, and I don't think we talked about the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie either with Leonardo DiCaprio, but that cast is also stacked and it's stacked with like different interesting people. Tiana Taylor is in it. I think they're introducing a new black young woman who's also leading the film. So like I'm excited to see that because that looks insane. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen in that one. But I did like that the cast was more varied and it wasn't, again, those same six or seven young actors who we're seeing like constantly.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think we could just mix it up. And I like that Alejandro's just mixing it up a little bit. So that's fun. Um,
Yeah, and to clarify, Legendary
mhm.
Pictures is not Nolan's company; it's Cinescope. But it's one of the many companies he does work with, and like of course Denny also work with
Yeah.
Legendary
Hmm.
Pictures. A lot of really talented directors work with Legendary to get their pictures done and produced and whatever. So that's bodes well in favor for this movie. Because if it was just Warner Brothers, I don't think things would go well. But because Legendary is known for working with giving a lot of uh directors their creative freedom, but the roster of the directors from every genre that they've worked with, and they've put together good stuff. Yeah, it bodes well in their favor. So,
That's good. Okay. Oh, sorry. Did you do that? Oh, you did that last one. Okay. So in our next story, Bernie Sanders spoke at Coachella because icons on icons, like obviously, like he would be there.
hmm,
Who doesn't go to Coachella and expect to see Bernie Sanders there? Like, come on. But yeah, he went up there and they're basically him and Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are on an end oligarchy tour across the United States. So they did a rally in Los Angeles, and then Bernie went to Coachella and did his speech where he just basically, slammed Elon Musk and Donald Trump as he should,
hmm,
and just basically just speaking to the next generation, like the young people out there, to be like this, like the future's riding on the decisions that you guys are making. Like it's really important that you guys get involved in like civil duties, however that manifests itself. And I really love that he went to Coachella. And I
hmm,
also love that they're doing this not during an election year.
yeah,
Mainly because Democrats always like do a hard push during election years, and then during the off season, they're not really doing any work. They're not really engaging
hmm,
with the public. And because Donald Trump is just so insane, I feel like it's pushed some people to really react, to go out there to connect with people. Um, and I love that Bernie and AOC are doing this. I love that he went to Coachella. He's in spaces with people like who aren't of his generation, who aren't like the typical Democratic voters, but who from online you can just see people care, they want things to
hmm,
be different, and so he's going out there and he's speaking to people in their own spaces. And I think that that is such a smart idea because like most Democrats, and Bernie Sanders is an independent, but like he's working with the Democratic Party.
yeah,
um I feel like the Democrats don't do things like that. And they're
hmm,
trying so hard to like be cool and create moments instead of just going out there and engaging with people. And I'm really grateful that like at least some people
yeah.
from that arena are actually like doing something.
Yeah, it was. I think he was originally there just to introduce an performer, by the
Mm.
name of Claro. She kind of does like
Oh
very
yeah,
good like
Clara.
lo-fi,
Mm.
pop music kind of stuff, and they kind of the organizers of Coachella kind of put the two and two together because she is very outright with her activism. So I said Bernie Sanders is probably the best person to introduce her coming onto the stage. Yeah, it works. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Bernie person, only because of the fact, for me with elected officials, age is a pretty big factor with it. But like you said, him and AOC are actually out there doing the work, and regardless of the Democratic Party, for the most part, has been very performative with their actions this time. It's like they're like, nah. Even if this doesn't hopefully this movement leads into getting younger voices and
Hmm.
getting a chance to be involved in politics of this country, because it's clear, like we I think our generation, even maybe some older siblings, older cousins like Gen X, like our generations have been largely left out of the conversation of what's happening and how we want the world to view. So,
Hmm.
but that also goes with the fact that you have to also elect people within that age range as well to lead the country going forward. So, yeah, I'm for it. I mean, the only thing I knew about Coachella honestly was the fact that I think Meg Thee Stallion invited Queen Latifah on stage to do UNITY, and that was kind of cool. And it's like the crossbreeding of not just black women but also generations of hip hop and rap.
Hmm.
Queen
Hmm.
Latifah is one of those women who you you put up top as the forefront of Black women in hip hop culture, and she's gone and diversified her career amazingly. And Megan Thee Stallion is that new generation who's also at the top forefront of hip hop right now as a woman, but is also diversifying her career as well. So yeah, that's the only thing I saw from Coachella.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention this year.
Yeah.
I haven't been plugged in a minute, but you know what? I'm glad that it's happening and that people are out there, talking about politics. I think that it's important. I think a Gen Z is like in government now, and I think he was there as well.
Yeah,
So like,
Maxwell, I forget his last name. Yeah,
love
but
it.
yeah. So
It up.
so on to what we have watched. Been gone for a week.
I think there was the
Uh,
last thing.
oh, is it? Is it? No, that was it. Coachella. Oh, Gail King, Katy Perry.
Do you
Okay.
know about that?
Bits and pieces. I can Google it up real quick. Hold on. You put that there.
Yeah, I didn't put a thingy there because I
um,
was like, I'm not going to. I'll just talk about it. But
um, so yeah, Blue Origin. I think is that Elon Musk stuff, I guess. I don't know.
I
Don't
think
know, don't
that's
care.
Jeff
Jeff
Bezos.
Bezos.
Yeah.
So apparently, he sent a little excursionary trip up to suborbit featuring Katy Perry, Lauren Sanchez, and Gail Kim. They just basically went up and then came back down, basically like a roller coaster ride. Um, this is not the first time celebrities have done this little space tourism thing. A couple years ago, William Shatner did it.
Hmm.
Going up into orbit. The connector there being him being Captain Kirk, from Star Trek, him going up to space. I remember a couple of years ago, this is like mid 2000s, of Lance Bass going up like Russia Space Agency. So it's not the first time that they've hyped up space exploration using celebrities, but it's also affects my view of what we think spatial exploration is and what my fear it is. You know, God forbid anything happen to this planet. Of course, powers that be, people with status will always be the first one off. Especially considering now we're moving to the point where we're treating space exploration and stuff like this as tourism for them because they have the means and money to afford to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. My thing is like, what was the point of this at all?
Yeah.
Like, I kept hearing about it, and I'm like, okay, so they're going to space. These people aren't. I think there was like an astronaut who was on board, but everybody else like not trained to be up there. But it didn't matter because it was only they were just going up and coming back down. But
Yeah.
still, like, what was the point? What was the reasons? Like, I just can't. I can't. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, yo, what are you doing? Katy Perry, why don't you make another album? Like, I don't know.
So she can't
Like,
make one.
this is just so this just made no sense to me. And I was just like, think about all of the money that was spent on this. Like, it's so expensive just to like get all this stuff together. Obviously Jeff Bezos was a part of it, so like I guess he doesn't care because
Mhm.
he's has so much money. But like, think about how those funds could have been redirected to things that actually needed to be helped, like people who are suffering, like people are dying, Kim. Like it just feels like we could have used this money and the publicity. Like there are so many humanitarian crises going on in Africa right now. Like who's doing anything about that? You know what I mean? It's just like really, it's just so annoying. Like I'm just so annoyed by this thing because it just felt like completely useless
Yeah.
and tone deaf and just unnecessary. Like unnecessary for every single one of these women to do this. Like, did you want me to care because it was an all women's team? Like I don't. I don't care.
Performative
And I'm annoyed.
diversity. That's what it was. Performative diversity.
I'm annoyed.
Yeah, and they spent like a total like 4 minutes in zero gravity. And my thing is, I probably would look at it differently if it wasn't just celebrities. If it was like regular people. If it was like a teacher, somebody,
Mm.
somebody who actually does a tangible benefit to society and culture, maybe. But yeah, they just went really. Honestly, it's not the first time they've done this before. Because
Mm.
if you've watched any movie in the mid 2000s, early 90s where people are in zero gravity, what they do is they just take uh a plane high up in subgravity, go up and down constantly for however long they need to shoot the zero gravity scenes for the most part. And they were just up there for like sub orbit for like 4 minutes. Like you can even tell in the pictures that God forbid anything happened to that device, all those ladies are dead because
Right.
they're not really like wearing like what you'd see as like a spacesuit or anything. They're just like wearing like they're wearing Nike Texas, and that's it. And that's it. And God, anything happens at suborbit where whatever control mechanisms fail or whatever, and they come plummeting down, So I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's a waste of money.
So annoying. I can't stand any of them. Well, I'm sorry if you were
I don't
trying
care
to
if
do it
they
for the
were.
right reasons. I
I don't
don't
care.
care. I don't know, but I'm annoyed.
So,
Anyways, let's move on to what we've been watching. Dale.
I've been sick for a while, still getting over throes of it. So I've been watching a lot of like finished up, not finished up, but almost finished up. I got one more episode left of, dang, wow, show just, dang, whatever. The name of the show just deleted from my head. See, I'm old. I recently watched Lazarus. It's an anime based in the vein of Cowboy Bebop. Don't hit the same as Cowboy Bebop. After last episode, I was kind of debating on whether I want to continue it because, as I've gotten older, my anime repertoire has become very limited, so I might force myself to power through and hope it gets better. But yeah, I've just been watching like a bunch of, random stuff as I've been lying in bed, sick, going over stuff. So just whatever, like did watch, I did rewatch Top Gun, the first one with Val Kilmer, after his passing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just been going back and going through an old backlog of projects. Of course, still when I can watch Grey's Anatomy with my friends, and we watched the episode where like George dies and Lizzie's like almost dies, like that's like season 5 or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, how do you feel?" I was like, "Eh." And we're like, why? This is like the most amazing and most emotional episode. And I had to explain to them because I watch the show through social osmosis on social media. I kind of know where all the big beats are happening. So when they happen to be, I'm like, I'm only really watching it for mostly how it looks. Like I kind of know all the story beats already, but I'm watching like now I'm actually getting to see the performances of the characters and whatnot. So my viewing habits of like watching this Grey's Anatomy marathon is different from people actually watching it from like the first time completely with no social media knowledge of it. So I don't know. It does it taint it a bit, maybe, but I still get to enjoy it somewhat, and I have a different view of the show due to that. I guess I don't know. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but I do. So
Yeah, I get it. Um, what did I watch? Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I started because I watched the first 2 episodes of Ted Lasso and then I stopped. But I'm watching Ted Lasso with my friend, and I'm really enjoying it. Still watching Abbott Elementary, loving it. Still watching Daredevil. The last episode comes out this week's really good. So I'm excited for that. And I watched Black Mirror, the newest season of Black Mirror. So I watched it because I watched the trailer randomly and I was like, oh my gosh, Issa Rae's in this, and Emma Corrin is in this, and Tracy Ellis Ross and Rashida Jones. Like, the girls are in this. I was like, oh, I need to be sat down and watching this. Like, what's going on? And it is actually really good. Like, I used to love Black Mirror. Like, I used to watch it every single season. And I think the last season I watched was when I think we were all watching it. When it was like those 3 episodes. We watched that together, I think. And that was the last time I watched Black Mirror. And 2 whole seasons have passed since I got back into it again. And this one was really good. Like what is being commentated on is really good. I think and that's the thing with Black Mirror, it's always like super timely, but I think in this one especially, It's like very much like you are dealing with these issues probably on a micro level, but even on a macro level, like every single person is probably dealing with these issues. The one with Issa Rae and Emma Corrin was really haunting because it kind of gives an insight of like how Hollywood could be making movies in the next like couple of years if we don't get the AI situation under control. It's very scary that because it just feels like this is something that can legit happen. And I think reality always ends up being crazier than like whatever art you can make around it. But like, yeah, it was pretty unsettling with that one, but also like really beautiful. And I also just think that like I like Issa Rae as an actress, but I think she did a good job in this one. Sometimes she's a little, but this one she was okay. She was good. But the one with Tracee Ellis Ross and Rashida Jones, which is the first episode, like that one was like, whoa. That one hurt. That one burned. But I like that everything is kind of connected. It's all existing in the same universe, and there's always like Easter eggs for stuff that happened in previous seasons and stuff. So it's a good. I was saying this to my friend, like television is carrying me through like this year. The movies haven't really done it for me this year, but television, absolutely. Television has been holding it down. TV is like so good now in a way that it has not been in like years.
A long time, yeah.
Like there'll be like a couple good shows and then like whatever, but like the shows have been hitting since January. Like so thank you television for keeping it real. Like there's been so much good TV.
Keeping my sanity up, you know. And being a welcome distraction for anything else. Yeah.
So. Yep. So that's good. All right. That's it from us this week. We hope that you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves. Make sure to check out all of our social media. Support us if you can. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Au revoir.